Hello.
Round two. Thank you for your patience with us today. I remember when we had to do this all the time during COVID, communicating with
Yeah.
each other online. Well, I'm grateful that you guys are here. Welcome to La Femme Film Festival. I want to hear more about your film. Glitch,
Thank you.
narrative piece. We've talked to so many cool people today, from music videos to vertical videos to narratives. I really want to hear more about what inspired this story for you guys, how it feels to be a part of this festival, and what was that personal spark that led you guys to tell the story.
Yeah. So we have our lead actress here, Abigail O'Regan. She's chiming in. It's like I think 12:45 a.m. for
Yeah.
you. So
Oh, wow.
thank you so much
No,
for
it's
like
all good. Yeah,
rallying
glad
to
to be
be
here.
here. That's amazing. And she's gonna fly over for the festival. So we're especially delighted that she's able to do that. Um, I think, are we all connected still, or is it just me? Oh, there you are. Yeah, I just said it went just to my
We
screen.
feature you and then pull you onto the screen, but
Oh, okay.
we're here.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so we got really lucky to get Abigail. Abigail's, she'll talk about this, but she was on a series called Spellbound. She's like an extraordinary talent. And we had this sweet paranormal comedy that takes place in a castle in Ireland. These two twins, Abigail's character and uh, um, her twin brother, concoct this plan to have an immersive reality experience, but things glitch out and
Mhm.
a real life ghost comes to the castle and gives the ultimatum: you have until midnight to reunify me with my long lost love. Otherwise, you'll be trapped in the game forever. And, the idea was sort of like to bridge worlds, like that Ireland is like full of these rich historic folklore stories, but then right now that's so front and center is the conversation of AI and how similar those two narratives really are. And so it's kind of like we'd say like Matrix for kids is the film.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Abigail, first of all, tell us where you are that it's midnight there. And second of all,
Yeah, I'm currently in London, so
okay.
yeah, I live in London, but also I'm from Ireland, so I just happened to kind of be in Ireland when I got the call from my agent to do an audition for Glitched, and it was such a whirlwind of events that kind of led to me being there on like at the right time to be on this production, and for it all to kind of work out the way it did was kind of a bit, meant to be, I think. But it was, yeah, it was such a fun film to work on. I mean, Zoe was amazing to work with, and we had so much fun together.
It sounds like you guys really did. Talking to so many female filmmakers on this platform, there seems to be such a co-creative space for women. And I think that's in this festival, in everybody that I've spoken to. And I'm wondering if you'll talk a little bit about that, the representation of how your experience as a female filmmaker and an artist, how that shaped your approach to this film. If you'll speak on that a little bit, Zoe.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the interesting things about the film itself is like it's a STEM forward story, science, technology, engineering, arts, math, like, and at the forefront of that is this female protagonist. And
Hmm.
it's her computer designs, it's her ingenuity that creates this extraordinary world. And making the gaming world fun and accessible to girls was an interesting thing that was happening in the fictional world. And then in the forward facing part of the film, like the actual physical production, my executive producer was a woman, my two producers were women, my just like an extraordinary team. And not, it wasn't an all female crew at all, but we did achieve something that was close to parity, which I'm very, very pleased about. We had a male cinematographer, and he was extraordinary. I'm very, very blessed to have had him there. But our second unit cinematographer is an extraordinary talent, and so we were able to um, just balance it out. And in the balance, we were able to get so much more because like we all come to the table with such unique stories and unique perspectives, and being able to like have the balance of the masculine and the feminine, and then also tell a story that is like maybe was like, traditionally like more, like you think about like the science or science fiction being more of the domain of men, but in this like we found like the balance where it's like also a love story, and it's science, and it's human, and it's this story about like a generational journey where between a grandmother and her grandchildren.
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Perfect. I heard grandmother and grandchildren. I wanted to make sure.
So it's like they're like in it, balanced throughout for sure. And the thing that I was particularly proud of with this film was how VFX forward it was for an indie production. We have like Abigail's character who's like, running this whole virtual reality game that's taking place within this ancient castle. And we have in the film, we have these extraordinary avatars that were built by two female-led post-production facilities. We had Raygun in Ireland that was handling all of the post, and then we had Piranha who designed the avatars. And our philosophy had been that anything that a human artist could do, a human artist would do. But we also live in the age of AI, which can help like streamline so many of these processes. So we were able to create things that, avatars that James Cameron was doing his film, like we had in our film, and we're just immensely grateful to be living in this time where we have access to these tools.
Yeah, I love that you guys are talking about this, because I feel like there's it is a tough topic to broach, and there seems to be a lot of polarizing opinions about AI. And I have found somebody was comparing it to fire the other day, and I thought it was a great analogy that fire has built civilizations, but it's also burned things down. So we have a responsibility to utilize AI well, but it can change the world if we use it well. So I love that you're talking about this being a part of your film. I think it's what's really important and makes your story unique. I feel like I could talk to you guys forever, but of course, we're slightly behind, but I believe we have a clip of your film. I want to make sure that we get to that. And well, you guys have till midnight to answer this question, or we're all going to get stuck. But I would love to hear when your film is actually screening at the festival, how we can continue to follow both of you, continue to support your work beyond this festival, and then we'll go to a clip.
Great. Excellent. Yeah. So it's a week from Friday, October 17th at 6 p.m. at Regal Cinemas at LA Live. And, we will be there a bit early. There's a bit of a red carpet that's happening beforehand. And so we're excited to see everybody there. And and Abigail, what is your social hashtag?
Oh, so my my socials is just my full name. I think it's just Abigail.O'Regan is on my socials, if you guys want to follow me there.
Excellent.
We love it. Thank you, ladies, for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Renee. Thank you so much.
Of course. Please join me in watching a clip of Pledge. Thanks, ladies.
Yeah. Thank you.
In the heart of the United States, a crisis is brewing. 87% of us have encountered nature's fury. 60% of Americans are grappling with at least one chronic illness. The same percentage are also dealing with burnout.
We are burning out these bodies through horrific working conditions.
We're talking in the hundreds of thousands a year.
They're choosing not to have children. I don't think that we're going back to normal.
What's going on?
Oh, we could drop dead at any second.
We're questioning everything.
It's pretty much out of control.
It's leading to the degradation of the planet we live on.
We should probably just, take a breath and learn a bit more, right? Ready?
Make sure I pull you off mute here.
Hi, Renee.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. Nivi, am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, you are. I'm Nivi. Yes.
Nivi, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited you're a part of La Femme. I love talking to, we got a glimpse of your teaser first. We thought we were going to see that at the end, but this is such an important documentary, and I would love to hear you talk about how it feels to be part of this festival, what drew you to this subject, and why do you feel like you're the right person to tell this story?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Renee, for having me here. Well, how it actually feels to be a part of La Femme International Film Festival, I think it's a dream come true. It's a great congregation of courageous women who get together to tell stories. And I've heard about the film festival over the years. And when our festival strategist told us that we made official selection, we're going to be screening with you guys on October 18th at 10 a.m. I was just beyond thrilled. So it's great to be a part of a great tribe of women that centers and spotlights our work. In terms of what led me to creating Third Degree Burnout was my own burnout. I have a corporate background, having worked for CPG, big brands and so on. And I was extremely burnt out after about 15 years in the corporate world. And then the pandemic descended upon us, and tragically and abruptly, I lost my father. So 8 weeks later, I actually founded a nonprofit in the greater Boston area where I'm based, and started a national level research on stress, dietary preferences, COVID infection, and infectious disease recovery, and how people fared both mentally and physically. And that was an incredible experience because we were in the middle of the pandemic. The second year of the pandemic is when the field work happened. And by the time we were able to process this very large data set research study, we felt that it had seeds of a story that was begging to be told, and we wanted to overlay the notion of planetary burnout and make it personal, because it's easy to talk about personal burnout and disease terms and gut dysfunction terms and stress terms, and I know that it can feel very personal to a lot of people in the country and around the world, but when we talk about the planet, when we talk about climate change, there are a few steps in between. And if it's, we wanted to make the story personal. So that's what led to this documentary feature that's Third Degree Burnout, A Survivor's Guide.
Wow, that's riveting. I love your perspective. I'm wondering if was there a moment of discovery when you were making this film where it felt like it completely changed the direction of how you were going to tell this story?
Absolutely. So we went into production, after a lot of thinking around what were some of the sequences that we wanted to, share, what are some of the subplots and sub-stories, what are the different interviews that we want to do. We have about 26 different experts, most of them women, many of them women of color, who participated on screen as experts on diverse stories and diverse backgrounds and topics of expertise, and then we actually started to think that we don't want to burn people out by talking about burnout, and that, because when you only have talking heads and you have experts in a traditional format documentary film, sometimes it can get really gloom and doom, and it can feel like it can turn people off, and that's not the point. The point of storytelling is to draw people in, to retain them, to have them walk away with insight and to feel personal relatability with the subject. So the turning point in the making of our documentary film was literally when we decided to depart from the traditional format of documentary filmmaking, which is just using experts and B-roll and talking about serious subjects, but we decided to produce 15 fictional skits and interstitially drop them throughout the film so that we could leverage comedy and humor in a sensitive way, but we could also make lighthearted humor about certain really heavy things that we were talking about, so that the message was sticky and it offered a breather to people who were watching the film.
Wow, I really love that. I love to ask filmmakers, like, what is that moment where it kind of clicked into place and you knew you were telling the story right? And it seems to be that moment. Like, what a creative way of kind of being open for like happy accidents on set. So I love that story. There, I'm curious. It's important you mentioned the BIPOC voice and how oftentimes those stories have been overlooked, and it's what our festival is trying to overlook these stories and allow our BIPOC stories to be the protagonists and not expository in the telling. Do you believe that you have an opportunity through documentary filmmaking to make BIPOC stories on the forefront, make them the protagonists in a story? And how do you feel like your voice as a BIPOC artist contributed to that? I know I just laid a lot on you, but I'm really curious.
Well, this is a really important question, and it harks back to the core ethos and the mission of my nonprofit. In everything that we do, we want to center women or persons who identify as women, persons from marginalized communities, either ethnicities or even sexual and gender minorities. And so it was just a very natural extension when we started to think about how we want to shape and structure the narrative in the film. Who do we want to include in terms of the voices of the film? It was just a very natural progression for us to, think about people from the marginalized communities and BIPOC voices, especially BIPOC women's voices to be included in the film. And not just that, a lot of the times, and as the director of Glitch, Zoe, also mentioned, that when we think about topics from STEM, right? When we think about science, we think about math, we often, think and we have stories that portray male, persons, either on camera, behind the camera, and so on. But we wanted to, showcase voices in the form of credible expertise that were female voices. And I feel incredibly grateful that we were able to find those experts, because sometimes in the talent supply chain of who's looking for whom, even word of mouth, there are just so many males who would speak up in the room on behalf of their, male colleagues and coworkers, and not necessarily recommend a woman. And I feel that, we did our search, and I absolutely feel grateful for all the women who came forward. And also the other thing was, we didn't only want these women experts as experts, right? You don't just want them to fill in chairs and talk about their areas of specialty. Of course, you want them to do that, but we also wanted to humanize our experts. So, many of them, we asked them in our, in-depth interviews. Each of them was interviewed for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we got lots and lots of, footage, but we wanted to ask them about their own personal burnout story. And many of them came forward. And I feel that a lot of the times when women have an option and an opportunity to talk about their stories, their personal lived experience of burnout, it just lends so much credibility, so much more humanity to the ideas and the narratives that we're trying to showcase through film.
I absolutely love that. I could talk to you forever, but I want to make sure that we continue to support your film at the actual festival. And since we already saw your teaser, I'm going to piggyback with one last question, because I'm dying to know. If you could give one piece of advice to emerging women in film, what would it be?
Don't seek permission. And because a lot of times women just wait, and we raise our hands and we're waiting to be offered permission to start talking and so on. Just speak up. And if there is a story that's brewing inside of you, it's important for you to speak up, because who knows, it might create a voice of inspiration, might offer a face to somebody else who might be going through exactly that, the same thing. And we know that since the pandemic, women, millennials, Gen Z, the entire generation, but specifically women, they're completely burnt out. We have so much data around that, so much research around that. So my message to emerging women filmmakers is, don't seek permission. Don't wait to be asked to come forward and talk about your ideas. Just do it anyway.
I love that. Don't seek permission. Well, when can we see your film at our festival?
We're screening at the Regal LA Live on Saturday, October 18th at 10 a.m. in the morning. And the post-screening Q&A is actually being moderated by the amazing, fabulous actor, producer, model, Kat Kramer. She, as you know, is the daughter of the legendary director Stanley Kramer. So she's going to be there. And three of our featured experts, all of them amazing women, a climate anxiety therapist, a scholar, and another person who's a student, and they study climate change. They study ecological, breakdown. They talk about climate youth advocacy, climate youth anxiety advocacy, and those sorts of things. And so it's going to be an amazing conversation with Kat on Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you. We will be there. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a conversation with us today. And please come to support Neva's Third Degree Burnout, a Survivor's Guide. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Renee.
Got it.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Lori. Thank you for joining. Am I saying that right? Is it Laurie or Lori? The Bostonian you must know.
Lori.
Lori. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry?
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. So this is the amazing thing about co-creating with other women. I feel like only a woman would ask me that instead of enough about me. What are you
here?
So I appreciate
You've been doing this all day, so I'm sure.
I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk to you because we have, for our festival, we have this in script format. So I'm curious to talk to you about creating this narrative piece. But rumor has it we do have a little bit of a teaser clip, so you'll have to tell us about that and make sure that we squeeze that in at the end.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm here. I'm so excited to be part of this festival. I am a creator that has always been in support of women creators. I have multiple worldwide platforms that support and mentor women in any facility of art that they want to dream of being a part of. And so Murder of the Wolf is it's my pilot screenplay. It is women-led psychological horror TV, and it's for the series All We Need. And I do have a trailer, which is actually the short film that I created last year called Vespertine, which is currently at festivals and really was a way for me to establish as a director-writer the world, characters, and themes of this series. And the series revolves around four long-lost friends who 20 years after a harrowing life-changing desert survival experience reunite to exact supernatural revenge on the men who have wronged them using a mysterious flower called the Vespertine, which grants them the power to control nature itself.
Wow. That is
so think like Yellow Jackets meets Nine Perfect Strangers with the ballistic energy of I May Destroy You.
Oh, I love that. I'm wrapping my brain around that. That concept sounds amazing to me. I'm curious if you'll talk to us a little bit.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a little bit of a delay. Can you see me?
Oh, there you are. Yep.
My computer.
Okay.
So long. I can't believe we did this for 2 years during COVID.
Right.
And I haven't upgraded my computer since then. No, I'm curious if you'll talk to us a little bit about the emotional anchor for you to tell this story.
So really, it's about my own personal journey. I was a very young self-help advocate early on in my 20s, and read every self-help book known to man to really just dive deep into women, generational injustices for women, generational trauma that's been transferred, and just really wanted to tap into the spiritual realm, and just kind of the, otherworldly, supernatural like environment that I kept kind of having, feeling that I was attached to in my dreams, and being visited by, I guess I would say. So I got on this journey of doing Wiccan journeys, which is really a Wiccan journey to tap into the natural environment of nature, and then the supernatural realm that we have amongst us, and that exists outside of like kind of the like day-to-day life we live in. So this is a story that traverses two timelines, and it really is about like four women come together. They're really bonded in sisterhood, but they want to tap into something different to like really relieve themselves of like the day-to-day trauma that they're dealing with. And also on the flip side, coming from, late 40s life, just wanting to hold like the darkness that we think is so terrible in a different kind of way, and to really see it as a power within ourselves. It's, not really the monster inside, but it's actually like a propeller of something beautiful and something magical within us. And the more that we get in tune with ourselves and our friendships and have our sisterhood elevate us, the more that we can see a little bit more of this magic that is surrounding us, that nature provides us so beautifully. And so it's about the series that all we need is truly the simplicity of our own self-discovery, our own awakening, our sisterhood, and like just nature in its pure form.
Oh God, I love the way that your testimonial, and especially speaking to the voices of like women over 45, and as myself being in that category, it's so nice to see that we're starting more and more to become protagonists in our own story and be less expository. And as our industry evolves, there's so many things changing, from us creating our own content to AI to having visibility over 45. Well, we're trying, but I'm wondering if you'll speak a little bit about where you see the biggest opportunities right now for female filmmakers.
For female filmmakers?
Filmmakers, yeah.
Oh, I mean, there's many opportunities right now. I mean, we are kind of at a point of assault for so many different like political and social things that are, really testing our like ability to even, call upon ourselves to, protect and empower our bodies. And so I think that the stories that we tell, the communication and kind of navigation, I always think of as like the circle of our generations of women. From, I'm always feeling like I'm being mentored by, Gen Z, which like I've been so excited about, like Vespertine and All We Need, which is a story. It has two timelines, but it is a story presently with women in their 40s, has been an incredible inspiration. And I was surprised by the major audience we had with younger women wanting to touch into these points of interest that are really about, women just putting forth the work, and, so that like when you get to an age like myself, you don't have any regrets, or you can see yourself, and hug yourself and feel good about, like, there's no shame in like all the things that like life propels on you and you have to kind of get through. It's really just the cycle of life. It's just really how, why we've been put on earth to do, this is the work that we are led to do. So I think it's as filmmakers, as voices of women propelling other women filmmakers, we just need to share and communicate and constantly be in touch with each other, so that we're telling honest stories that mean something. And that can also like really, just keep propelling us forward in this world that we're living in today, because it is really, I, as a mother of a daughter who is a creative, just care so deeply about the safe environment that we're creating for women to be, able to voice themselves and to be bold, powerful artists.
I love that. You have buttoned that up so well. I want to make sure that we get to see a clip. And especially since you don't have an actual physical film in the festival, we want to continue to follow you and support you beyond the festival. So how can we do that? And you'll leave us upon your exit with one little piece of advice for emerging women.
Well, you can definitely find me at my name, Instagram, Lori Levenfeld, or Vespertine Film is on Instagram as well. I have a bunch of other projects coming up that are going to be women-led and with a horror undertone, so it's a lot of fun. So definitely follow me. And then my advice is just, community. We have an incredible community that we developed for Vespertine and for all of these films called Village Queens. And it's really just a format. We get together in LA, we can get together online, but just really to propel each other forward to, anytime that you have a chance to mentor anyone, any age, it's important at any stage of their career because, I just make the time, call people, whatever it is, just give them 5 minutes of your time because it can really help people, especially in this industry and the climate that we are with all these just kind of that pivots and craziness that we're going through. We just got to do it together. So I just try to be there for everyone. And I've seen that happen with me. I've just been so surprised at the people that, get off the text and just call me in the middle of a series that they're filming, So
Yes. I love that. Such great advice. I mean, my conduit to working in this industry was mentorship. So I love that was your pearl of wisdom to leave us with. So segue us into a clip here of what we're about to see.
Okay, so Vespertine is basically this supernatural world that these 4 wonderful ensemble characters live in. It's the same themes as Murder of the Wolf and All We Need. So it'll give you the style. I came from a cinematography background, my directing choices, and just the world that I love to create. There's a lot of fashion in it too.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Laurie. We'll make sure that we follow you on Instagram too.
Thank you. Thanks for this.
I have a story for you guys. I see us all as planted seeds wallowing in the murky mud. And one day, inspiration comes, enabling us to all spread our roots and detach from the sticky. This is when we grow, baby.
So the flower is poisonous. It's Russian roulette, right? It's die or awaken.
Okay, we are here. We're all together, okay? Let's just see what unfolds.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Bottoms up, ladies.
It's your turn, B. The world wants to see what you hold.
So anyway, the story's gonna get weirder now, right?
We lost our way.
At this point, we have nothing to lose.
She wants to make partner.
She's a terrible attorney.
She's a woman, bro. She can't handle it.
American dream. Life on autopilot.
Things will never be the same.
I'm worried about you. V, life, it has a funny way of sorting things out.
I have been looking for this little lady my entire life, and trust me, the Vespertine is exactly what we need.
Karma's a bitch, and we seeds know about plucking weeds. You do it so more flowers will grow.
Where do you get this shit?
Hand in the country, darling.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
I'm
Of
excited
course.
to talk to you about your film. This is correct me if I'm wrong. This is an animated short, an allegory about pregnancy loss.
Yes.
I'd love for you to introduce your film. Welcome to the festival, and
Thank you so
tell us
much.
a little bit about what inspired this and how this took root for you.
So my film is called Flocky. Before I move forward, I'm going to apologize. I had gum surgery and half of my face is deformed. So that's why I'm like this, okay?
Oh, no worries.
But I wanted to put the camera on. So I decided that it was better to speak with my face in. So I'm like, okay, let's put my hands on. So Flocky. Flocky is the title of my film. It's a pregnancy loss, as you said, a short film. In 2015, I had stillbirth. A lot of people don't know what the term is, so I'm going to describe it. It's the loss of an infant when you're pregnant on later stages. So it was my first son, and of course the experience was extremely devastating, but I was very silent. It was that silent that made me feel that I had to actually scream out my experience to the world. And because I make films, I was like, okay, I need to make a film about this. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but one day I will make it happen. I will put it on a big screen so people actually talk about it. It seems like it's a taboo in society still to talk about your losses, your pregnancy losses, stillbirth, or whatever you want to call it. But it seems that there's no dialogue. People are in shock, and that actually doesn't help the experience. It actually makes it even worse. So that's why I thought it was extremely important to put it on a big screen, and that's what Flocky is.
Oh, wow. It's incredible. I have, having this opportunity to talk to so many filmmakers, I haven't been able to see everybody's film yet, but I'm really excited to be able to support this film because I think this is an important story. Pregnancy is not a part of my experience, but I think this narrative, this dialogue, women giving a voice to these stories is incredibly critical and relatable. And so thank you for your courage to bring this to a screen. We're an honor to have you here at the Femme. I'm wondering if you'll share with us a little bit about that moment. I feel like that moment where the story clicked and you knew you had to tell this story. Did that happen during sort of the gestation writing process or while you were in production?
It happened right after I lost him. It took me a year to realize how to write this film, and because I was like, I'm not gonna write about what actually is a stillbirth, right? I'm not gonna write about the delivery of a dead baby. I'm just gonna write about why it hurts so much, mentally, emotionally, why it lasts forever. So the way I did that was writing. It took me a year to write a 10-minute script. Because it was very difficult for me to describe what I felt, actually. And what I actually did was describing what pregnancy is in a way that you actually enjoy it, even if you haven't been pregnant before. So what I do is you travel on the journey of what a mother actually projects in her brain in each moment of pregnancy. So starting from the first scene of the movie, it's when they actually told me I was pregnant. So what I do is, and I'm not going to spoil the whole film, but you see a lot of images that reflect that feeling. And then you advance the pregnancy with her with projections of two people together, and you understand that they are bonding slowly. And that by the middle end of the scene, you describe the feeling of losing him all of a sudden, right? Like from everything to nothing. So the way I wrote this was focusing on this silent dialogue, because there's no dialogue, made on purpose, because you don't actually talk to your baby. The music speaks for them, but I focus on this bonding and how strong it is and how difficult it is when it disappears, right? It actually doesn't disappear, it lasts forever. That's why it's so hard when that person is gone, even if nobody has seen it, but you feel it. And that's when you understand what conditional love means. So that's what I think the movie is doing. And I don't say a thing. I think easy actually doing that, because even people that haven't been pregnant before and men have come to me after the film saying, I understand now what this journey means for you, for women, right?
Yeah, I
I
really
think
love that.
it's appropriate that this is at La Femme Film Festival also.
Absolutely. La Femme obviously it celebrates women's voices, and I'm wondering how your experience as a female filmmaker really has shaped your approach to this film.
It actually, I realized that you really have to screaming out. You really have to tell your real truth, and you really have to dig in and make people make yourself heard, right? Because if I didn't make this film, a lot of things would have not happened with my experience, and a lot of people will not even know I went through this experience that actually changed my life, right? And for example, with this 10-minute little film, I went to Congress to advocate for a law to prevent stillbirth. If I was not strong enough to scream out my feelings and make a film about this, I would have not gone to the US Congress ever in my life. So there I go inside Congress because I made this film. So to your question, if you truly believe you need to tell something, even if it's difficult, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna succeed, because women are, we go through hell, and I'm not even talking about stillbirth. There's so many things that happen to us, right? And we have this strength within us. We can do it. We're very, very strong. So I believe like this film is as strong, and
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I want to make sure that people come and support this film. We have a clip of your film, so I want to make sure that we get to that too. If you will let our audiences know when they can see this at the film festival, and then also how we can continue to follow you after the work, and after the festival itself, and then we'll lead into a clip of your film.
Yes, this film is gonna be played on Sunday 19 in the animation block at 10 a.m. And if they want to follow the film, is on Instagram, Flocky Short Film. And then my work is in Instagram is Claymaniac with a K in the end, because I'm making other films too.
You're making it perfect. Thank you, Esther. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you feel better.
I know. Sorry about the hand. I look like I'm lazy, but I'm not. I'm like
no. You look very.
I can't even laugh. Like that, I'm fine.
Feel better, though.
It's like the most awkward interview ever, but it's at least we made it happen.
I think you did great, and we're excited to support your film.
Thank you so much.
Film gets a bunch of accolades, you'll be like, I didn't even remember it.
I know it's gonna be remembered forever.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and join me in supporting a clip here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Renee.
Awesome.
All right. Bye.
I know.
Hello. Hi, Michaela. Good to see you.
Hey, Zoe.
We'll just get started, you and I.
I'm still muted. You guys hear me? Oh,
We can
hi.
see you. We can see you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited that you guys are here. I haven't talked to anybody yet that has a comedy web series pilot in the festival, so I'm intrigued to hear about getting this project into the festival, what that feels like for you. Tell us a little bit more about your project.
Yeah, so my undergrad background is actually in fine art. I went to art school in Philadelphia. I'm from the East Coast originally, live in LA now. But this is very much like coming out of my own experiences and that sort of fish out of water experience I faced, especially at the very beginning of art school. But these characters, the character that Michaela portrays, Lucy, is like the very heightened reality of like what I felt when my nerves got the best of me in those kind of like awkward environments that was art school. And the other characters that surround her very much represent like the friendships that are like clumsily made at the the very beginning of art school. You meet like a found family that you sort of stumble through life in and with. So very much part of me, and it's something I've always wanted to talk about and laugh about because a lot of my art school experiences were insane and unhinged and just the best times of my life. And then when I made the pivot from like fine art and fashion as a career into film, that's what I really wanted to explore so much.
I love that. You mentioned your found film family while working on this project. I'm curious if Michaela, if you'd pipe in a little bit about that experience. Did you find that to be a parallel, and what was it like to co-create with Zoe?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing that we always say about this set was that it was so much fun. Like just the crew and the actors, like a bunch of the actors, I knew them a little bit, through school, through doing the same projects every now and then. But just like those like days that we were together, it was so much fun, and we were just hanging out, and it made it just so comfortable for me to be in such a like embarrassing sort of situational comedy. It was just so awesome to have everybody on board with that uncomfortability and just be silly and mess around, especially with Laura being like my very like cool teacher for the first time. It was awesome. Yeah.
I love that. Were there any moments, and Laura, you can pipe in on this too. Were there any like moments on set that were like happy accidents or some type of like behind the scenes moment that made you laugh or cry still when you talk about it?
Oh, Zoe has to lead this one.
I have to
something like specific in mind.
Yeah, like it's so funny to me that you asked that specific question because Laura ended up just sort of ad-libbing and like improvising so much of the comedic gold. Like we were kind of like rapidly working together on set for her to be mumbling a lot of like unhinged dialogue that like we would then like and it really paid off. And that was such like a beautiful happy accident, and just like props to Laura for being able to really like ad-lib all of that nonsense, because it ended up like being like the background dialogue and like random like transitional moments for like most of this pilot. Like it came in so handy, and she did such a great job. And like I think due to scheduling, we were only actually able to get a rehearsal with Laura like once or maybe twice, but like it was just like Laura was the most beautiful addition, and like really like just understood the tone, like the comedy tone, like so well. She ad-libbed like one line that will forever be my favorite of like her judging a student's work and being like, I would have added toenails here, like just like so random and silly.
Wait,
but like
I would have added toenails.
Yeah, like drawing class, I'm looking for the toenails.
Yeah, she nailed it, man. I mean,
That
everyone.
should be your log line. If that's not the reason people come to support this series, right there. Say no more, no context. You got it. I love that. So you talk a little bit about like scheduling conflicts. I'm wondering, I mean, that's I love hearing the levity of some of these stories, but I also know as a creative myself, the filmmaking process TV process, it can be so arduous, and there's a lot of things to overcome that you don't see when you're embarking on it. I'm wondering if you'll share a testimonial of some of that too.
I think really like the best you can do is just have an awesome crew, like to sort of alleviate whatever like logistical problems. I think like I just had I really tried to like not only nurture like my crew who could help with the back end stuff and like I said, alleviate any kind of problems that could arise, but like I really tried to spend time nurturing my cast with me, and for us to like walk in on that day to be as prepared and rehearsed as we could be. And really like the majority of the play came from like Laura and I like amping up the background dialogue that like we could sort of play with and ad lib with. I will say in terms of logistics, there's just sometimes things you can't predict. Like there were sound studios like above us while we were filming the entire day, of like musicians playing like trumpets and trombones, and we would have to like beg our AD to like go try to feed them to get them to stop playing and stuff like that. But it's it's just having people in your corner like that you can be like, hey, like I know this kind of sucks, but can you please ask them just to like, what can we do to like get them to like maybe take a break and like not be playing the trombone while we're filming right below. So it's just kind of par for the course, those things. But I think having an enjoyable team and keeping like a good attitude about it, and like we're all just making art and having a laugh, especially right now. I just think that's my end game. That's my goal.
Oh, I love that. You guys seem like such a fun group. I wonder if you'll both, or all three of you, touch on this a little bit. If you have a piece of advice for emerging women in film and who you look up to, aside from adding toenails to it, any emerging pearl of wisdom advice.
I mean, I would piggyback on what Zoe just said, just about like that you're having fun and you're making art and you're there to have a good time. And I think it's really easy to forget that when there's so many moving pieces and there's so much pressure because everything is on a time crunch and everything is on a budget, and it just it's so easy to be stressed out. And so I think, and especially like when you're doing comedy, like it's imperative to the success of the work that everybody keep that levity high. And I think that everyone on this set was fantastic at doing that, and the crew was just there for Zoe 1000%. And for me as an actress, like working with a female writer director, it's obviously I haven't done it nearly as much as I want to or wish to, and I want to focus more on that in the future, but it's always such a treat. And it was so personal, such a personal story to her, that I think we all just showed up for it 110%.
Oh, I love that. And Michaela, any pearls of wisdom for us?
Yeah, I think something that I'm working on, especially like going into comedy, it's so intimidating because it's like you have to be funny. It's like, no, like I have to, one thing that I always tell myself going into comedy is like, let it be bad. Let it suck. My goodness, it's okay to be messy, because then, I am in such great hands with Zoe, for example, and just like letting them mold you as an actor and things like that. Just let it be messy, let it be bad, and then you can fix it later. You can work on it. But that's my advice.
I love that. I love that. Well, ladies, I want to make sure that we support your work at the festival. If you will let our audiences know when you guys are screening at our festival, and then also how we can continue to follow your work after the festival. And then we'll pan to a little bit of a clip here.
Awesome. Yeah, we are going to be screening at the Regal Cinemas LA Live at the 10 a.m. block on Friday, October 17th. And you can follow the project at _crit_web series. And then I believe we all have a handle. Mine is Zoe L. Hudson, if you guys want to shout out your handles as well.
Follow the crit __ blah, blah, blah. You'll find me there.
You'll find everybody there. That's true. Everybody's tagged there. And the last thing I want to say to like women, female filmmakers is just like, don't be afraid to be funny. Like, be unapologetically funny. And that's just like my 2 cents. So
Love it. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. I would talk to you forever. We are getting behind. Maybe that's the female in me, as I just keep, all I want to do is just talk and talk.
I know.
But
having us,
yeah,
Renee.
It's real.
It's real. It's real.
It's real.
Let's get into a clip here. I'm super excited to support you guys at the festival. Thanks for being here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello. I'm your instructor, Yuna Lee. I am thrilled to be jumping into the deep end with you today, drawing the figure on day 1.
Oh, God. Where's Figure Drawing 101?
You're in it.
But we're doing this on the first day?
Yes, and you are?
Lucy Dick Glick.
Why does that name sound so familiar?
Where are you going?
Oh,
I forgot my penis. Pencils.
I forgot pencils for the shape.
Come. You're going to need to look at it eventually, Mystic.
Hey there, Annie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you, Renee?
Hi, welcome. Thank you for hanging tight in our backstage. I'm excited to talk to you about your is this music video or film? I wanted to get clarity
Music
on
video. It's a music video.
Awesome. Yeah, let us know a little bit about this project. What inspired you to tell this story? I've spoken to a few music video artists, and I feel like there's a different personal spark that is the impetus to bringing that kind of story to life. I'd love for you to share it with us.
Yes, of course. Well, now is off our new record coming out next year. Right now, the album is called Suburbia. It may change, though, but right now it's called Suburbia. And my partner and I just set out to write a really good song, and then it kind of took on a life of its own. It became a political anthem, so to speak, that's addressing, important topics and issues of our time. And we just saw what our world is and the state of our country is in right now, and decided to tell a story about it. And that's how it came to be.
Oh, wow. I'm curious if you'll talk to us a little bit about the emotional anchor in the story for you. Was there one?
Again, it was just during COVID. We actually wrote this during COVID, and it was very isolating, a lockdown feeling for everyone at that time. And we really needed to express what was going on in the world, and as the video will show, what's gone on through time. And I think the message that you get from this video, if nothing else, is be the change. If you want change, you can't wait for it. You have to make it. And that's the message that we want to relay to everyone that watches it, and hopefully they will feel that and be inspired about that and go out and vote and make change.
Oh, I really love that. Do you feel, I've spoken to a few people that feel like there's this moment that almost can't be calculated in the creation process where your idea kind of clicks into place and like, this is the story I need to tell. I'm wondering did you have that particular moment in creating this video?
I did. Actually, it all started with the track that my partner Nick Saya was working on, and I heard it and said, we got to do something with that track. We absolutely have to do something with that track. And then the words just came and flowed easily, and the melody as well. And it grew out of something and became something larger and bigger than myself. And we just put it out in the world and decided to, again, tell the story that needed to be told about facilitating and making change and being authentic with that change, to see how it would transform in reality. And from knowing your past is very important so that you don't make the same mistakes that can move forward, learning the mistakes of the past. And that is what I tried to chronicle in this video.
I love that. I love that you mentioned trying to chronicle, creating this through line in a story. And I've noticed the more female creators that I talk to, that chronicling that story is such a strong perspective. And I'm wondering if you talk a little bit about your experience as a female creator and how that made shaping your approach to this video different?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. That's a great question.
Mm.
This is my second time being a producer on a video. My first was back in 2012 with a video that we did for a cover of Paul McCartney and Wings' Jet. And I learned so much on that film video, which was a short film, actually, working on that with the director, Dev Milburn, and being in that role of producer, my first time being a female producer, the same thing on this video as well. I wasn't directing it, but I was telling a story and producing it and realizing my vision. And that's always present to me, whether I'm working on a music video like this or whether it's myself being a female artist, especially in the rock world, because I'm a rock singer, and it's, there's not that many of us out there that are still doing that kind of a genre nowadays, especially with the music that is out right now. So that's very precious to me, and being authentic and being a voice that's heard and a female voice and being in control of your own destiny is important.
I love that. Yeah, it's exciting to me to continue to amplify the voices of creators, especially us that are post 45. I'm finding myself slightly exhausted about what I see, but I also love seeing that young creators really seeing the mentorship opportunity in the older generation, and seeing that co-creation has been beautiful, and talking to the variety of filmmakers during this process. I'm wondering if you have this conversation for me with, you mentioned you are a rock singer yourself, and I'm wondering what's next for you after this festival, after the.
Well, we're actually thinking about re-releasing now for the upcoming midterms next year, which will give it a whole new life. So I'm really excited about that, releasing the new record and hopefully getting to Europe in order to promote all of this stuff that we're doing right now. That's our main goal.
I love that. And I love that you say it out loud. I'm a big promoter of affirming it, letting the universe take it from you.
Yes.
I support you. Let's get this to Europe. Thank you, Annie, so much for joining us. How can we see your video at the festival? Because we don't have a clip of it here. I want to make sure we get butts in the seat to see you at the festival itself.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have a trailer. So I did upload the video, but unfortunately, we don't have a trailer. But I believe it's going to be shown on October 19th, which is Sunday in the afternoon around 2. Okay. And if not, then if people can't get out to see that, you can see it on my website at annieminogueband.com. It is there for all to see, and on YouTube as well. And Annie Minogue Band 1 on Instagram.
Thank you, Annie, for joining us.
Thank you.
For supporting you at the festival.
Thanks so much.
You
Take care.
You too. Hi, Maria. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you as well. I'm so curious to talk to you about your film. I have had the blessing and privilege of talking to so many filmmakers during this process. And yesterday I spoke with a woman who is a Ukrainian refugee in Poland. And I'm curious, your film mentions that refugee status of the Ukrainian experience. Please educate us about your film and what was your purpose to tell this story, and clarify that message for us.
Yes, so my name is Maria again. I live in Toronto, and my work involves working with Ukrainian refugees daily. So since the war started, I'm going to say like thousands of people went through my company. We've tried to help them. We've tried to help bring them to Canada. We've brought like big foster families for free to Canada. So there's lots of charity and advocating, lots of free support that we offered. And then we also, part of what I do is I help them stay in Canada and permanently. So Canadian government is very, very generous. They open the doors to an infinite, like unlimited amount of Ukrainians, not infinite, unlimited is the right word. And then also we know like other countries like US, Europe, they've opened the doors, and there's this big kind of charity that was involved in the beginning, and still there's lots of great people who help Ukrainians. But it's been almost like 3.5 years and nobody talks about what's happening to them right now. And I really wanted this film to be the voice of Ukrainians, and I wanted to raise awareness about this sort of like unheard, unseen crisis that they're going through being out of the war zone. And the crisis, in my perspective, is psychological. So while talking and to so many families and seeing the psychological limbo and stress they experience, so imagine I like this kind of like image that came to me recently. It's not in the film, but it really portrays like the depth of what they're going through. So imagine like, God forbid, something happened to your house, right? Whether it's like a storm or war, doesn't matter. You lost your home, right? And then all of a sudden I'm saying, hi, Renee, hi, friend, you can stay at my house. You can work at my farm, make wages. Your children can go to school. You can be a part of the community. But look, I can only give you this like small, tiny room at the porch. And it's like a temporary place. But for you to have an actual room at my house, you have to compete with the rest of the world for that room. Because to have a proper status in my house, 3-4 years after you lost your home, have been paying taxes, working in my garden and my farm, right? For you to have a proper status, proper feeling of a home, you have to compete with the rest of the world. And the competition involves, you'll compete with PhDs, you'll compete with random selections for random occupations, for like very bizarre kind of like selection systems that are in place. Like, to me, they're not logical. And I'm speaking from being in the industry, right? And there's this big legal gap, legal limbo that unfortunately doesn't account for you. So staying here with your children for 4, 5, 6 years, God knows how long, when the war is over, we'll ship you back. So imagine the stress. And lots of these people are actually women with like single women with children, because husbands cannot leave Ukraine. And they're fighting in the war. And of course, like once the opportunity comes, they want to reunite with the family. But imagine children who established themselves in Canada, right? Who, made new friends. They're like, English is becoming their main language. And the reason why I created this film is I was just, psychologically, it was so hard for me to hold it all inside, because I could see like nobody sees that. Because Canadians actually think Ukrainians have refugee status, like they're here permanently, like nobody even understands. And then when I spoke to politicians, policymakers, they're like, there's lots of options for them to, obtain permanent resident status. But the reality was 2022, 2023, there were options. And at the end of 24, some big changes, policy changes happened. And I was like, that's it, they have no chances. And that's when I started to make this film. I called my good friend, who is a film director, very talented film director, who's Ukrainian. I'm also Ukrainian. And I said, look, we got to show this to Canadians. We got to show this to politicians. I hope that this film could not only be the voice, but it could also be pushing some policy changes. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Wow. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing like your pull to purpose. And I think there is an incredible need of the time to tell this story. And so thank you for your willingness to share this story. I want to make sure that we have time to show a clip and also support you at the festival. But I'm curious if you could answer just one more question for me. How did you build the trust and intimacy with this community that was outside of your own experience when making this film?
So it's a very interesting question. You mean how I built trust with the Ukrainian community, how I kind of got to know them?
Yeah, and to film their stories and showcase their stories on a public platform.
Right. honestly, people were so, because I part of one of the things that I do is I'm the head of the company that provides different free volunteer training services and also paid legal services for Ukrainians who are in Canada, right? And people were just willing to share. They're like, please show her story. And the one goal of the one goal that I kind of set up for myself and our film director was that every Ukrainian who watches the film would see themselves, and it would be like a psychological relief for them, like, oh my god, finally I'm seen, because they feel so unseen. Like nobody understands the struggle they're going through. It's not only economical struggle, like you move to a country that's right now is in economic crisis. Everything's so expensive. You start from scratch, you lose everything. But it's also the struggle of just psychologically, like, what's going to happen when my work permit expires? Like, am I going to be required to go home? And how am I going to do that with 3 children? And that unseen struggle, like, they were so willing to share it. And not only share it, like, we crowdfunded 50% of the funds spent on the film. We just crowdfunded that amongst just regular Ukrainians, those who already got status, are settled. Like, it was just amazing. And in 60 days, I was just like, wow, like amazed that we just opened an Instagram account. Videos started to go viral. Like there was like 2,000 followers, like in a short period of time, and people were so supportive. And every time we showed to Canadians, they're like in shock, and they're like, Maria, how can we help? Because the film deeply touches you. Ukrainians say like the whole film we cry. After the film, we kind of feel, oh my God, finally we're heard and seen. Thank you. And Canadians are like, how can we help? So with this film, we're trying to bring it up to like members of the parliament and show the story so that some policy changes are made, so that there are some options. And my biggest vision is that Canada is like the first country who takes that step to show to the world, like, look, these people deserve a feeling of a home, like after what they've gone through. And they're so hardworking. Like, I don't know a single Ukrainian who doesn't have like 2-3 jobs. Like they pay taxes, they employ people, they start businesses. And that's who Canada needs now, and not only Canada. They're like rebuilding the parliament in Ottawa, and they don't have a chance to even have proper status. Like that's kind of like one of the little things we show, right? But we show like really touching stories. We show the problem, and we kind of try to call to action at the end. Yeah.
I'm delighted to support and watch this film. Please let us know, before we go to a clip real quick here, when this is screening at our festival.
Yes, so thank you again for allowing us this chance. And our screening is on October 19th, Sunday at 12 p.m. We are coming from Canada. I'm coming in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy. I'm coming to LA.
Goodness.
Yeah, and the director's coming, so we're like so excited. This is going to be our premiere. The film is amazing. It's touching. It's a docudrama, so it has a lot of elements of not just like, you know, people talking, but it has elements of feature film, and it's very touching. So I'll be honored if more of you guys come. If you support us, you can support us. I know you're gonna ask. I might as well jump in. We need lots of support. Like this is just the beginning of the movement. We need so much more to be able to spread the word and create policy change, because it's tough. You understand, it's politics. But we already have MPs who are backing us up, who are like, look, let's look at it. We got to do something, but it's tough. So we need to support. Follow us on Not Refugees. The Instagram is @NotRefugees. Same, notrefugees.com. We're still continuing to crowdfund. So you're welcome to support us in any way by spreading the word, by sharing what the message is about, sharing the trailer. And we're really hopeful, like after this film festival, we're hopeful to apply for some Canadian platforms, perhaps Amazon, right? So that more Canadians see it, because they want to see it. They're like, we need people like Ukrainians in Canada because the country needs them. And like everybody's in shock, like why there's nothing for them created for them to stay. Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Maria. I'm excited to support you, and thank you for sharing your Instagram too. I'm going to see if I can rally some people to continue to contribute to your campaign. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're an absolute delight. Your work is so important. Thank you for being here. And please join me in witnessing a beautiful clip of this docudrama, Not Refugees.
Thank you so much.
Ніхто з нас ніколи не думав, що нам це прийдеться зробити, що така біда буде в нашій державі.
I cannot handle this anymore. It's too much for me.
Many do not know what a temporary resident is, because I didn't know.
You're alone. Like, I cannot imagine that.
The majority of Ukrainians who are in Canada now did not come as refugees in the legal sense.
And we have to run through the forest 30 minutes.
My clients were calling me from the bomb shelters.
This is the resilience of the Ukrainian people.
Всі ті люди, хто виїхав, то ми просто рятували свої сім'ї.
They crying for him. Daddy, daddy, daddy. It's very difficult for me for now.
Here right away you have to survive.
Everything is tied up to the document that you have no influence on.
Why government cannot take care of me?
That's it, enough. Let's go out of here.
Imagine how much you would have to struggle to actually move back to a country at war.
Наразі я працюю 7 днів в неділю.
Who else deserves to become a PR and be approved under this program?
I think it's not fair. It's not fair at all. It creates really traumatic negative experiences for them.
The PTSD rates unfortunately actually increase.
They cannot plan anything, they're stuck in limbo, and this does add so much extra psychological stress for them.
You know, in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars, and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. Like, as for me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. Like, that's the risk you take. Hi, Max. Thank you.
Hi, Renee. So nice to meet you.
Hanging tight in the home stretch. I'm excited to.
No, I'm so incredibly humbled and honored to be in the same lineup with all these amazing, incredible female filmmakers who have so much to say. It's like mind blowing.
It's honestly like hosting this event and having these conversations. It has been such an honor and a delight to talk to you guys. Like, such a beautiful, eclectic community of women. You all have such different voices and stories, but yet similar voices.
And it's so international. I'm just blown away.
I know,
so
and
fun.
you deserve to be here, and I'm super excited to talk about your project. A little bit different, a horror narrative. Talk to us about this process, why you created this film.
Well, I don't know where to begin. Like, I had this insatiable desire to tell the story about super woke cannibals. It's an interesting story. Obviously, it was not premeditated at all. It started off with me and my dear friend Elsa, who plays the redhead in the film, just getting together for coffee and wanting to write a project that we can both be a part of, exercise our acting skills, producing skills, and she is like a badass stunt woman, so naturally action came into play, and we're also talking about like horror is where it's at, so we naturally gravitated in that direction, and being driven by wanting to create something that's visually appealing and fun, we started thinking about creating this female-driven story that is like Charlie's Angels meets Jennifer's Body. We didn't want to make it too serious. We wanted it to be like entertaining and fun. And we started talking about vampires, but then, I just noticed that Armie Hammer was watching my Instagram stories, and it was around the same time when I think the whole controversy around him came out. So it just became this perfect jumping off spot for us to take the idea of man-eaters into the whole different level and making it literal. So yeah.
I love the double entendre of the film, and I love that you speak a little bit about the genre, and it's a really interesting, compelling genre for me, because in some of the dialogues I've had, I realize that these female-driven stories, where especially these horror comedy narratives, you don't necessarily need to be a star for people to want to watch and support these films. It's unique to this genre, and so I love that for you to hop on that is brilliant, by the way, especially because we get defined by celebrity, which is entirely unnecessary, and we deserve, people who are not celebrities deserve to be protagonists in their own stories. So I love that you've spoken to that and utilized this genre, because I'm a comedian myself. I didn't lean toward horror until those genres merged, and so I'm super excited to support that story. I'm wondering if was that a part of your storytelling approach, the female story, and being able to give yourself a voice without that celebrity status?
Yeah, it has nothing even really to do with celebrity. I would just say it's probably to do with trying to defy the stereotypes, the certain gender perceptions and norms. And for instance, everyone who we meet, they are going to judge us immediately just off their preconceived notions that they already have in their heads, just based on how you look, whether you want it or not. And it comes into play when we as actors are being cast in projects. So very often, when you're just starting your career, you get these roles of like ingenue or femme fatale or things like that. So instead of just defying it in the way that shows that, okay, I can do other things, so I'm not just that. We wanted to play into it and be like, okay, yes, you choose to see me like that, I'm gonna own it and I'm gonna kick your ass. So
yeah, I love it. And that's such the beautiful part of incorporating comedy, because that's the reversal, right? Like if you can't use something against our experience if you embrace the fact that we acknowledge that's how we're seen, right? In my experience, I'm a woman over 45, and this whole notion that we're invisible, it's like I very much play to that imagery, and I'm creating a story right now where a woman literally disappears and becomes not physically visible anymore, and what that parallel is. And I think there's something about giving a literal meaning to a more conceptual metaphor that is an important voice to have right now. So I'm excited. We're running a little bit behind, and I want to make sure that people support you on the festival, and we also have a clip, and I want to make sure that we get to that. So if you will let our audiences know when you're actually screening at the festival, and then also how can we continue to support you, Max, beyond this festival? How can we follow you?
Oh, thank you. We are screening Sunday. That is October 19th at noon block. Dinner is served. You can find it on Instagram as dismovie, DIS_movie. You can find me as Max Reeves on pretty much everywhere. I'm easy to find. And I'm gonna have a series that comes out soon. I can't talk about it yet, but it's very exciting. And a movie that is a horror, doesn't really incorporate any elements of comedy, but touches upon the subjects of memory loss, physical disability, love. Hopefully comes out sometime next year. And Dinner is Served actually going to be available on commercial platforms like Hulu, Tubi, and stuff very soon. So if you cannot watch it on the big screen, hopefully you can catch us from the comfort of your couch at home.
Oh, I love that, Max. Well, thank you so much for being here. Funny little sidebar. I just got a text from Uber Eats that's saying my dinner is served.
Perfect. Perfect timing.
Bizarre timing. I'm like, oh, how funny. Anyway, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Enjoy.
I was like, that is the weirdest text message to receive. Exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But thank you so much for being here. And please join me, guys. Stick around for a few more minutes and join us in watching a clip of Dinner is Served.
Thank you, Renee.
You got it.
Born to be wild. Born to be wild. Like a true nature's child. We were born to be wild. We can climb so high. I never wanna die.
That'll be fun.
Born to be wild.
How cool was that?
How cool is that? And thank you for being here to support fellow filmmakers too. I love seeing other people in the queue that are there, riveted, supporting other artists. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. Thank you for being here, Hannah. You're our headliner. You're closing us out for the interviews.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome, and just getting to hear everyone else's interviews has been so cool.
Yeah, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about this experience, what it feels like to be a part of this festival and this community. Tell us about your film.
Okay. Reporting live from my childhood bedroom. Being part of this festival is a dream come true. Being included in such a thing and just getting to meet people, having opportunities like this, getting to talk about something that I made with my friend that now other people are going to see. I mean, as somebody that studied film and was like, oh, I love film. Like, it's such a dream come true. So I'll just start off there. But yeah, this project is a music video. It's partnered with my friend who goes by the musical name Boy in the Water. And it's a video that explores like grief and loss and ambiguity. And it's about a private investigator coming across their first femme fatale and kind of chronicling how they become the jaded anti-hero we know in society, but reimagined through the lens of gender fluidity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what inspired you to tell this story, and why are you the right person to cultivate the story into this video?
That's a really good question. I was talking to my friend. We were like, we should collaborate. They had a song that came out, Sneaker Wave. And, it goes into people not always being who you wish they were, not who you want them to be, not who you expect them to be, and how we're not always who we want to be or expect to be. So they were like, I really want to make a visual where I'm mysterious but vulnerable. And that really made me think about film noir. I was like, yeah, there's such the archetype of being, mysterious and vulnerable as the private investigator. And then we thought, the dreamy style of their music coupled with the dreamy style of film noir would be really cool. And then also it kind of champions trans visibility, because it's like trans people have always been here and they'll always be here. And so reimagining this really traditional masculine archetype through gender fluidity highlights that. And then, am I the right person to tell the story? I'm not sure, but for me, it was about allyship and supporting my friend and, listening, learning, uplifting trans voices, and just lending myself to the cause.
Yeah, I love that you share that. I'm currently writing a story too. One of my best friends is trans. I'm not trans myself. And how do we elevate that experience? Where is our space to tell this story? And, I asked myself these questions too. And recently I worked with a filmmaker. I'm Latina, who is not Latina, and was telling about a Latina experience. And I thought, this is part of our shared experience. And I think if we can navigate this space with somebody who's living that experience, I think that that collaboration is such a beautiful opportunity. And I always say that, and this is probably not originally for me, but I always say that trans people are the butterflies of humanity. And I think it's such a cool a cool metaphor. And so I love that you're giving a voice to this story. And as a female filmmaker, do you feel like coming to a festival like this and having a story that is addressing these non-binary issues, I wonder how that plays out in your contribution to sharing this story and how you're submitting this project?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me as a female filmmaker, I tend to be more collaborative than other filmmakers I've worked with. I'm really curious about other people's experiences and opinions, and I'm really open to actually getting like all of the keys of every department's expertise and input. And I really do believe in the synergy of the collaboration makes it better, you know, and being just the leader of that collaboration. So I think that's how I see myself in this project. And that's how I see being a female filmmaker influencing the project.
I love that. If you, we have to button this up and I could talk to you forever, but I really want to know, like, is there a call to action with this project, do you feel? Or if there were a call of action, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I think the call to action, from my opinion, is like keep an open mind. Just look, listen. If you're curious, maybe read a book by a trans author or Google it or like just anything. Just try. And I think that it's important to be an ally and like being open-minded to maybe not always doing it perfectly, but continuing to show up and working through your own, you know, discomfort through not being perfect. And I think more people just need to know that's like, just try.
Yeah. I love that, Hannah. Thank you so much for being with us. Please let us know when this is screening at the festival so we can make sure to be there to support you. And then also how we can continue to follow you after this festival.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I will start with saying that it is screening the 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. block on Saturday, October 18th. And you can follow me at Likenit on Instagram or hannahliken.com. And then the artist, my good friend, Clay Laurent, Boy in the Water, and the song is called Sneaker Wave. So YouTube, anywhere you stream music, they're amazing.
Thank you for being here. And please join me in seeing a clip of this gorgeous video. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've been on the road, I've been digging holes, running far away as I can go, I suppose. Turn my back and then came a sneaker wave, put a rapid end to fatter days.
Melanie.
Hello, Renee.
Thank you for being here. I spoke too soon, and our last artist, I thought she was the last person, but I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to talk to you. I saw you on the list, but I didn't see, I saw your film on the list, but not a human being attached to it. So I'm glad you're the human being attached to it.
Thank you, and forgive the Frankenstein appearance. I had a little procedure done the other day, and wear your sunscreen, okay? So you don't have to have this. Anyway,
I love it. You know,
thank you so much for being here.
I'm so glad to have you. And I think I'm grateful that you showed up exactly the way that you are, because I think that's part of what our festival is, trying to elevate us showing up as women just the way that we are.
Battered as we might be.
Battered as we might be. There's an inadvertent filter in StreamYard that I didn't implement. And I'm like, I didn't even need the filter. So please tell us a little bit about your film, your feature screenplay. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about what inspired this story and what was the personal spark that led you to bringing all of this to life.
Thank you. Well, I am hoping to see it as a feature film sometime very soon, but I am here today because a couple of years ago, I was walking in the streets of Paris, which is a city I adore, and I saw a plaque on the wall of an old building that said Olympe de Gouges lived here. Olympe de Gouges, it turns out, was this raging, scandalous feminist in revolutionary France, advocating for equal rights for women at a time when women had no societal or civil rights at all. They couldn't vote. They couldn't own property alone. They didn't even own the rights to their own intellectual property. Their husbands owned it. And if their husbands didn't want them to publish, they didn't get to publish. So in response to the Marquis de Lafayette's publication of the Declaration of the Rights of Man, which is the basis for our own Constitution, she wrote the Declaration of the Rights of the Woman. And in it, she foresaw all of the civil rights that we take for granted today: voting, owning property, rights to marital property in the event of divorce. She was remarkable. She was badass. She was ahead of her time, and she pissed off the wrong people. And shortly after Marie Antoinette, she followed her to the guillotine for her right. But she was great. Most of all, she advocated for a woman's voice. She said, women have the right to mount the scaffold. They should be able to have the right to mount the speaker's platform. In other words, you can execute us, you might as well let us speak. And in our current weird times, I am reminded of one important thing she said, which was that there is no public liberty without freedom of speech. It is our sweetest heritage. And I want to bring her speech to the screen. I want people to be made aware of who she was.
Thank you so much for speaking on that and elevating this story, because it's what's heart-wrenching in so many ways is that you speak of her being led to the guillotine after Maria Antoinette, and I'm thinking, even just outside my lifetime by a few years in this country, it wasn't until 1975 that we could even get a mortgage or a credit card.
Or a credit card. That's right.
Fact that this is happening now, and our stories are still so muted all these years later, and that's part of what we're trying to do here at La Femme is elevate these stories. And so I love that you're cultivating this story and making sure that her story doesn't die with her death, right?
Disappear into history. It shouldn't, because it's everything that she advocated for, abolition of slavery. It's so relevant today that I think not only should we hear what she had to say, she had this kick-ass story. I mean, it was very exciting. It was visual, it was dynamic, it was dramatic. She was a flawed character, but she had this abiding belief that what she was advocating for was what humanity needed. And she didn't shut up about it, and so they cut off her head for it.
Wow. It's incredible. We're so grateful that you're at the festival. We've gone over, but I want to make sure that we make sure that you are not lost in the trenches at the end of our interview process. Please let us know where we can support you at the actual festival, how we can continue to follow your work beyond this festival. And before I let you go, I also was wondering if you'd give us one little pearl of wisdom of a bit of advice for women filmmakers out there.
Well, I don't know that I'm the one to ask for advice, because I'm pretty new to the proceedings as well. But I would say, like I am doing, speak to everybody you can about the project that has impassioned you, because we need passion, and we need the right kind of passion these days. We need good passion. We need feminine passion, and we need wonderful stories like this told. I don't yet have a PR platform to follow for this, because I'm still looking for a manager and looking to get this to the studios, because it would be a big studio film. But keep the name Olympe de Gouges in mind, and keep in mind what she said. There is no public liberty without freedom of speech. It is our sweetest heritage.
It is our Swedish heritage. What a great way to end this 2 days of incredible interviews with incredible filmmakers. It was a delight talking to you. Thank you for
Thank you. I can't wait to see all these fabulous broads at the festival.
I know it's going to be it's so weird meeting people on a virtual platform, and then in life, what that will be like. It's like we're undoing COVID all over again. But thank you so much.
Oh, isn't it time?
Isn't it time? I know. I've been sitting in a stool without pants on for 8 hours. I'm ready. I realized, like, how did I do this for 2 years?
Go have your dinner.
Thank you. Yeah, it's still at the door. Melanie, I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody who was.
I'll see you at the festival.
You'll see me at the festival. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.